All right guys, welcome back. We've been busy doing cooling upgrades on the Charger, so let me catch you up. Now so far we did a new water pump with 180 thermostat, a dual row aluminum radiator, put a new condenser in, auxiliary transcooler, and next on the list is this big power steering cooler. It's basically a huge heat sink and it has the fins inside as well as the outside. Basically, this is going to protect the power steering pump from getting too hot and failing. The pumps on these cars are known to fail, especially high RPMs while you're turning. They tend to overheat pretty quickly. So this is one thing we can do to help prevent the power steering pump from ever failing. And I have a few more things that we'll cover in the next video. But for now, let's see where we want to mount this thing. So if you have an RT, you'll have one of these single row power steering coolers. I'm not sure if the V6's got those. The SRTs have the same style, but it's 3 rows, so it passes through 3 times, which is a little bit better. But then this huge thing should do even better than that. Now, a lot of guys I've seen mount it right under here, like that. But I'm almost wondering if I should go up under the bumper support. It's like this. So let me do some thinking and figuring out, and I'll let you guys know what I decide. All right, I think I decided go on the bottom of the bumper support just like this. The factory hoses should reach this one and then swing that one down. They should reach both sides of this. The only thing I don't like is with the bumper on, it's out of direct airflow. So I found these spacers to use with these longer bolts, so that way we can space it down something like that. Get a little bit closer to that lower grill opening so that does get some air, and I think that'll work. I don't know about you guys, but I tend to save everything, and this is one of those times where it comes in handy. I have no idea what this is even for, but I had 4 of them. All right, got my holes marked. All I did was found center of this, and I found center of that. That way I could hold it up there evenly, mark my holes. And what we'll do is riv nuts just like we did for the bracket on the transmission cooler. All right, got my holes drilled and my riv nuts in. And now we can mount this thing. Now, just like the other bolts, we're gonna put some Loctite on them just to help with any vibrations so they don't come loose. But before we throw it in there, I'm gonna put these barb fittings in. Now they are a tapered thread, so you shouldn't need any sealant, but I do have some oil resistant thread tape. I think I might throw just a round on there just to be sure. Nice. That worked out perfect. Like I said, this is the stock hose. I just pulled it down. And look at that. It reaches. All right, and here's the other stock line. It's actually too long, so I'm going to trim it back to maybe right there where that clamp is. All right, that turned out pretty nice. Looks good with the transcooler. Now, if only I had an oil cooler here too, someday. But yeah, looks great. Now, in order to put that back on, I'm gonna have to notch it to fit. No big deal. So let me get that on, and then we finally put our plastics back on. And just like that, notched. Fits perfect. Sweet. All right, so for the passenger side plastic, obviously we didn't do anything over here, so it fit like normal. But down here, there was this piece here. But before I put that on, I did put some of this sheathing on there just because it's touching the lower radiator support, so I didn't want it rubbing on that hose. And then as far as this goes, I had to notch it, and then I used some of this molding just around that edge, just so it's a soft edge and not cutting into that hose. So let me throw this on there real quick. All right, that looks pretty good. Now let's do this side. All right, now this one took a little bit more effort. Trying to fit it in here with the cooler into place was kind of difficult. You see I had to notch it up here, put some sheathing on these hoses, and then down here I had to notch this lower one here, and then I put a piece of hose around the stock line here because it's hitting against the frame, so I didn't want it to rub through. But yeah, there it is. All finished. Looks good. Nice and tidy. Big old power steering cooler down there. Like I said, eventually we'll do an oil cooler over there. Probably one of these just over there, but I want to find a thermostat to run with it, just to make sure the oil always gets up to temp. But it looks good. All right, we're almost wrapped up. One more video to wrap this thing up. I want to do an SRT8 power steering pump, and we're going to do an SRT8 crank pulley, and then obviously a new belt. 05 to 08 Hemis had a larger crank pulley than the 6.1s, so putting the 6.1 crank pulley on your pre-Eagle 5.7 is actually underdriving the accessories. You're going to need a 6.1 specific belt, but that'll slow the power steering pump down. Just one more thing to help it live. Now I know all this may seem like overkill, but once it's all said and done, less to worry about. But that's going to do it for this one. Appreciate you guys for watching. If you want to see more of this, subscribe, hit the like button. Let me know what you guys think of the coolers, and I'll see you guys on the next one.